Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, let me paint the picture. You meet this woman and everything's flowing smoothly. Conversations are easy. Smiles are constant and the vibe feels right. You start thinking, man, this might actually be something. Then suddenly, silence. No replies. No calls back. That excitement you had, now it feels like your stomach's in knots. And let me tell you, nothing hits a man's pride harder than when the woman he wants starts acting like he's invisible. You start overthinking, did I say something wrong? Is she mad? Is she talking to someone else? Before you know it, you're trapped in your own head, chasing answers she ain't giving. But here's the real talk. The moment you let that silence control your emotions, you already lost the game. See, women don't just ignore a man for no reason. There's always a reason, and the way you handle that moment decides everything about what happens next, whether she comes back around or leaves for good. That's why this talk right here isn't about begging, it's not about playing games, and it's sure not about sending her 1,000. Hey, did I do something wrong? Texts. No, sir. This is about teaching you the kind of mindset, the kind of confidence, and the kind of moves that not only make her regret ignoring you, but make her see you in a whole new light. So don't move, don't scroll, don't skip, because the difference between feeling rejected and becoming unforgettable is right here in these next few minutes. Let me break it down for you. When a woman starts ignoring you, the first thing you need to understand is this: do not panic and do not chase. The biggest mistake most men make when a woman suddenly goes quiet is to start acting desperate. They blow up her phone, send message after message, checking her social media, trying to figure out what's going on. And the more you do that, the more power you hand over to her. See, when someone ignores you, the natural human reaction is to want to fix it, to close that gap, to understand what's wrong. But the truth is, the more you try to pull her back by force, the further you push her away. When a woman ignores you, your silence is your greatest strength. The way you handle being ignored tells her everything about the kind of man you are. If you fold, if you beg, if you act like you can't handle the distance, you show her that your value depends on her attention. That makes you look needy, weak, and easy to control. But if you stay calm, if you pull back, if you give her space without complaint, suddenly you become a mystery. And trust me, women are drawn to mystery like bees to honey. Now let's be clear. Ignoring you doesn't always mean she stopped caring. Sometimes women go quiet because they're testing you. Sometimes they're busy with life. Sometimes they want to see if you'll lose control, and sometimes they're just trying to see if you were only chasing them for attention, or if you're a man who's truly got his own life in order. And that's why when she ignores you, you don't blow up her phone. You don't send long emotional texts. You don't start asking, why are you ignoring me? Did I do something wrong? You stay cool. You stay silent. You hold your ground. A man who can stay calm under pressure, especially emotional pressure, is a man who makes women take notice. She might expect you to react. She might expect you to fold. She might expect you to start chasing. But the moment you don't, the moment you let her feel your absence, that's when the real magic happens. She starts to wonder, why isn't he reacting? Why isn't he begging for my attention? Maybe I was wrong about him. That little seed of curiosity grows into respect, and respect is the foundation of attraction. You have to remember, women aren't attracted to desperation. They're attracted to confidence, strength, and emotional control. The more you show her that her silence doesn't break you, the more you become the type of man she can't stop thinking about. And when you stay calm, you give her room to reflect on her own behavior. Sometimes women ignore you to get a reaction, and when you don't give her that reaction, she starts to question her own decisions. Now here's the real truth. If a woman is ignoring you to test you, silence makes you pass the test. If she's ignoring you because she lost interest, your silence protects your dignity and saves you from further heartbreak. Either way, silence puts the power back in your hands. You have to know your worth. A woman's attention can't define your self-esteem, your life, your goals. Then your confidence should be so strong that whether she's there or not, you keep moving forward. And here's something else to think about. When you stop chasing someone who ignores you, you send a message not only to her, but to yourself. You remind yourself that you deserve respect, communication, and honesty. You remind yourself that being treated like an option isn't something you accept. That mindset changes the way people treat you, not just women, but everyone around you. So the next time a woman ignores you, don't panic, don't chase. Don't fold. Sit back. Let her feel your absence. Focus on your life. Go to the gym, work on your goals, hang out with friends, build your empire. Because a man who stays busy building himself is the kind of man a woman regrets losing. When you let silence do the work, you give her the space to miss you, to think about you, and to realize your value. And that, right there, is how you flip the script. When a woman ignores you, it's easy to think you've got to do something big to win her attention back. A lot of men fall into that trap. They start trying too hard, sending long texts, apologizing even when they don't know what they did wrong, offering gifts, compliments, anything just to pull her back. But here's the truth: most people don't tell you the best thing you can do is work on yourself, not chase her. See, when a woman pulls away or goes quiet, it's like a natural moment of testing. Whether she knows it or not, her silence puts you in a position where your next move tells her everything about you. Are you the type of man who falls apart when attention is taken away? Or are you the type who stands firm, focused, and secure, with or without her? Women are drawn to men who have their lives in order, men who have something going on beyond the relationship, men who are not defined by whether or not a woman is texting them back. The more you focus on self-improvement, the less power her silence has over you. The more you invest in your growth, your health, your money, your peace of mind, the more magnetic you become. And the funny thing is, the moment you stop trying to get her attention, that's when you start getting it. Because women can sense when a man is desperate, and they can sense when a man is self-made and self-fulfilled. One pulls them closer, the other pushes them away. Now, I'm not saying this is about playing games or acting like you don't care. It's about shifting your focus from trying to control her actions to controlling your own life. You can't force someone to talk to you, but you can control the way you spend your time. You can control how much you invest in your mind, your body, and your future. You can control whether you sit around waiting for her or whether you get up and start making moves, building the kind of life you want, with or without her. Here's the truth: when you start working on yourself, people feel the difference. When you hit the gym, when you level up your career, when you spend time with people who uplift you, when you dress better, then when you walk with confidence, all that energy radiates. Women pick up on it, even if they're not talking to you directly. That silence that once felt like rejection now becomes space for your personal growth, and that growth turns you into a man she can't ignore even if she tried. And the craziest part is, even if she doesn't come back, the new version of you will attract someone better. You'll either inspire her to return, or you'll become too upgraded to settle for the old dynamic you once had with her. Either way, you win. The pain you feel when she ignores, you can either break you or build you. And if you use that silence as a wake up call to invest in yourself, you will always come out stronger on the other side. Working on yourself isn't about revenge or making her jealous. It's about making yourself proud. It's about walking into any room knowing you bring value, knowing you are more than someone waiting for a text. And here's the thing, self-worth is attractive. Confidence is attractive. Growth is attractive. The man who stays still waiting for her looks weak. The man who gets better while she's gone looks strong. So the next time you get ignored, flip the focus. Don't make it about her. Make it about you. Build, grow, improve, upgrade. Become the man you've always wanted to be, and watch how the world, including her, starts paying attention. When you take care of yourself first, you become the kind of man no woman wants to lose, and if she does, that's her mistake, not yours. Sometimes when a woman ignores you, your first reaction is to chase her. You want to call, text, show up, explain, fix, and make it right. But here's the hard truth most men don't want to hear. Chasing her is often the worst thing you can do. When you chase a woman who's ignoring you, all you're doing is showing her that you are willing to lower your self-worth for her attention. And the moment she sees that, she knows she holds all the power in the situation. Women, whether they admit it or not, are attracted to strength, emotional strength, mental strength, and personal discipline. When you chase someone who is walking away, you're showing them you don't have any of that. You're telling them, you can treat me however you want, and I'll still show up. And trust me, no self-respecting woman will ever be drawn to a man she can easily control or one who makes himself too available, especially when she's ignoring him. The right move when a woman goes silent is to match her energy, and I don't mean being petty or trying to play games. I mean genuinely stepping back and giving her the space she has chosen for herself. When someone pulls away, the last thing you should do is close the gap for them. Let her feel the distance. Let her notice the absence. Let her miss what you used to bring into her world. Because when you stay quiet and stay strong, two things happen. She either realizes your value and comes back on her own, or she walks away for good. But either way, you keep your dignity, and that's something no woman can take from you. A woman's silence is not a green light for you to become desperate. In fact, it's an invitation for you to step into your own strength. When she ignores you, take that as the perfect moment to focus on your life. Focus on your work, your health, your hobbies, your friendships, your family, and most importantly, your self-respect. A woman doesn't want a man who falls apart without her. She wants a man who is already complete with or without her. The funny thing is, the more you respect yourself in these moments, the more attractive you become. Chasing makes you look small. Patience and self-control make you look powerful. And power is attractive. When you don't rush in trying to fix things, it shows you have emotional maturity. It shows you don't need constant attention or validation. And that's the kind of man a woman ends up respecting, even if she was testing you with her silence in the first place. Here's something else to think about. Sometimes her silence has nothing to do with you. Sometimes she's going through her own stuff, her own emotions, her own life problems. And when you chase, you're actually adding more pressure on her instead of giving her the space she might need to figure things out. So by not chasing, you show her you're emotionally intelligent. You show her you trust her enough to work through whatever she's facing. And you trust yourself enough not to panic when the communication stops. In the end, you've got two choices. You can chase her and lose her respect, or you can step back and hold on to your self-worth. If she's meant for you, she'll come back. If not, You've just saved yourself from wasting time on someone who was already walking away. Either way, you win. Being a man isn't about begging for someone to stay. It's about knowing your value, standing your ground, and understanding that anyone who truly cares about you won't leave you guessing for long. When you choose strength over chasing, you'll attract the right kind of women into your life, the ones who see you as a prize, not a doormat. So when she ignores you, don't run after her. Take a breath, stay calm, and remember your worth. Because the right woman will never make you feel like you have to fight for her attention. When a woman starts ignoring you, one of the most important things to understand is that you cannot control her actions, but you can absolutely control your reaction. And this is where real strength, real confidence, and real self-worth show up. A lot of men fall into the trap of thinking that if they just try harder, if they send the perfect message, make the perfect call, or show up at the perfect time, she'll stop ignoring them and everything will fall back into place. But the truth is, trying to control or fix her silence only shows how much power you've already handed over to her. A strong man doesn't fall apart just because a woman distances herself. A strong man knows that his emotions are his responsibility, not hers. If she chooses to ignore you, don't waste your time overthinking what you did wrong or bending over backward to prove your worth. That's not attractive, and it's not the mark of a man who values himself. When someone ignores you, that silence speaks volumes, and your job isn't to chase, but to listen. Not to her words, but to her actions. Silence is a decision. It's a choice. And your response should be simple: accept it and move forward. When you start focusing on controlling your own emotions rather than trying to control hers, you shift the power back to yourself. You show that you are calm, composed, and mature enough not to let someone else's temporary feelings ruin your peace. This isn't about playing hard to get or about revenge. It's about understanding your own value and refusing to beg for someone's attention. The moment you accept her silence without reacting out of desperation, you show her and yourself that you are not emotionally dependent on anyone for your happiness. It's easy to think, if I just say this or do this, maybe she'll come back around. But chasing after her attention only tells her you don't respect yourself. And if you don't respect yourself, why should she? Women are drawn to strength, not desperation. They are drawn to the man who can stand tall in the middle of silence and still move forward with purpose. That kind of strength makes a woman question her own decision to pull away. It makes her wonder why you're so calm, so unaffected. And it forces her to see that you aren't going to lose yourself just because she disappeared for a moment. There is real power in mastering your emotions, especially in relationships. When a woman sees you can stay composed, even when she's pulling back, it tells her you've got options, self-control, and confidence. That you know your value, and you don't need to beg for hers. And deep down, every woman respects a man who carries himself like that, whether she admits it or not. So instead of obsessing over her silence, invest that energy in yourself. Focus on your goals. Hit the gym. Build your business. Spend time with people who respect and appreciate you. The more you pour into yourself, the less her silence will hurt, and the more attractive you'll become, not just to her, but to everyone around you. And here's something important: if she does come back, it won't be because you begged her to. It will be because your strength reminded her of what she was missing. And if she doesn't, that's fine too. Because the man you become by controlling your emotions and focusing on your growth will always attract better. When you stop trying to control her reaction, you give yourself permission to let go of what you can't control and focus on what you can your peace, your growth, and your happiness. That's how a real man handles silence. That's how you take your power back. And that's how you make sure you never lose yourself trying to hold on to someone else. When a woman starts ignoring you, one of the strongest moves you can make is to focus fully on your self-respect. That's right, self-respect is the name of the game. Most men, when they feel ignored by a woman they care about, start slipping into panic mode. They question themselves, they overthink, they start calling too much, texting too much, and trying to explain things that didn't even need explaining. All of that is a fast road to losing her even more, and worse, it's a fast road to losing yourself. The moment you let someone else's silence shake your self-worth, you've already let go of the power you should have held on to in the first place. See, when you respect yourself, you send a clear message without saying a word. I know who I am, and I'm not going to shrink just because someone's pulling away. Women are naturally drawn to men who stand tall in the face of emotional distance. It doesn't matter how good looking you are or how much money you have. If you don't respect yourself, you'll look weak to her, and nothing turns a woman off faster than a man who acts like he's lost without her attention. Self-respect shows in the way you carry yourself when the situation isn't going your way. Anybody can feel good when everything is smooth, but real self-respect shows when things get quiet, when the attention fades, and when the other person stops showing interest. That's when the mirror gets put in front of you, and you get to see, am I going to chase her, or am I going to hold my ground? Am I going to start begging for her time, or am I going to continue walking in confidence? When you respect yourself, you don't allow someone's absence to become your weakness. You don't allow it to control your mood, your self-esteem, or your peace of mind. Instead, you focus on what you can control yourself. You focus on your goals, your growth, your health, your money, your dreams. You remind yourself that you were whole before her, and you'll still be whole if she chooses to stay gone. A woman will always test a man's emotional strength, whether she's doing it on purpose or not. When she starts to ignore you, sometimes it's her way of seeing how much power she has over you. The man who stands firm, who doesn't flinch, who doesn't rush to fix something that wasn't his to fix, shows her that her silence doesn't run his life. That's the man who earns her respect. That's the man who either wins her back without even asking, or walks away without bitterness if she doesn't return. When you choose self-respect over reaction, you give her space to think, space to realize what she's missing, space to feel the weight of her own decision. But if you strip yourself of self-respect and go chasing after her while she's ignoring you, you leave her with all the power, and you leave yourself with nothing but regret. It's not about playing games or pretending you don't care. It's about truly knowing your worth, with or without her attention. A woman will only invest in a man who shows he is worth her time, and that starts with how much you believe you are worth your own. If you don't respect yourself, you can't expect her to. So when you feel that cold silence, remind yourself, you're not here to prove your value to anyone. You're here to live your life with dignity, purpose, and strength. And funny enough, the moment you start holding on to your self-respect, one of two things will happen. Either she will circle back, realizing she underestimated your strength, or you'll outgrow the need for her attention altogether. Either way, you win. Because self-respect will never leave you empty the way begging for someone's attention will. It builds you, it sharpens you, and it makes you a man that not only she will notice, but the whole world will. When a woman starts ignoring you, one of the smartest things you can do is give her space and let her be. Now, that might sound a little strange at first, especially when your heart is involved, but the truth is, chasing after someone who's pulling away almost never works. In fact, the more you push, the further she'll run. That's just human nature. Nobody likes to feel pressured, and nobody likes to feel smothered, especially when they're trying to figure out their own feelings. Giving her space shows her something more powerful than words ever could. It shows her that you are secure enough within yourself not to panic when things aren't going your way. It shows her you've got the emotional strength to let her think, to let her miss you, to let her process whatever it is she's going through without you standing over her, waiting, begging, or trying to convince her of anything. You see, sometimes silence can say more than 1,000 conversations. When you stop chasing and start stepping back, it creates a natural shift. She goes from knowing you're always there, always calling, always texting, always waiting for her to give you attention, to suddenly feeling your absence. And that absence is where her thoughts start to shift. That's when the what if questions start circling in her mind. What if you're moving on? What if you've realized your worth? What if you're done waiting? When you give her space, you give her the chance to choose you freely rather than feel forced into the decision. If she's ignoring you because of frustration, confusion, or even as a test to see how you'll react, your calm and quiet distance will answer everything for her. It tells her you're not going to play tug of war with her emotions. You're not going to beg for attention. You've got enough self-worth and peace to let her go if that's what she wants. And that attitude alone makes you more attractive in her eyes. The key is you have to be genuine about it. Giving her space isn't some magic trick or reverse psychology game. It's about truly understanding that if someone wants to be in your life, they will make room for you. If they don't, no amount of pushing, chasing, or overthinking will change that. Once you fully accept this, the way you handle these situations will change forever. You stop trying to control what you can't control, and you start focusing on the only thing you can, your own life, your own growth, your own peace. It's in that space where real answers appear. She'll either realize your absence hurts more than she expected and reach back out, or she'll stay distant, which will save you from wasting more time on someone who isn't meant to be in your life. Either way, stepping back and giving space protects your dignity and lets the truth reveal itself without you having to beg for it. And here's something a lot of men don't realize. Space doesn't just help her figure out her feelings. It helps you figure out yours too. When you stop chasing and start living, you start seeing things clearly. You start realizing whether this woman is truly right for you or whether you were just holding on to the idea of her. You get your mind right, your confidence back, and your power back. And once you're in that place, no matter what she decides, you'll be all right. Giving space isn't weakness. It's strength. It's self-control. It's emotional maturity. It's one of the biggest signs that you know your value and you're not going to settle for being an option in somebody else's life. When you master this, you'll never find yourself chasing after people who don't want to stay, because you'll understand that the right people don't need to be chased. They choose you, and they meet you halfway. So the next time you feel that sting of being ignored, take a deep breath, hold your ground, and step back. Give her the space to miss you, to wonder about you, to realize what she's losing. And in the meantime, focus on becoming the man who's so strong, so centered, and so full of purpose that whether she comes back or not, you're still standing tall. That's the kind of man nobody can ignore for long.